Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
Pillar TV is a 24-hour station that provides up-to-date programs, incisive news on local and national hubs, in-depth analysis of current affairs in politics, business, and entertainment. To comment on our programming, send us your feedback on our Facebook page, Pillar TV, or our Twitter handle at TV_Pillar. Email us at tv@gmail.com on 0798 673 426.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
Nawe kunina nyota yako ya mai. Makonya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na macigĩtwo na ikĩro cia igũrũ. Nĩ mahĩtũkĩtio nĩ rũhonge rwa KRA na KEBS. Tũkoragwo harĩa Oasis of Hope Building kũrigania kanitha wa AC Paul Kutus. Twendagia maĩ na thimo cia mililita 500, lita 1, lita 5, lita 10 na lita 18 gaturumo kenda. Twarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra kĩbũgũ 7 1 kĩbũgũ 2 6 4 4 1 6 kana kĩbũgũ 2 kĩbũgũ 2 1 2 4 4 1 6. Mount Kenya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na mena thogora mũbacĩrĩru.
Pillar TV, kurongereria muturire.
Welcome on our today's program. This is morning breakfast, and on today's show we are honored to have a special guest who have come all the way from UK. You will have to know her name, and then we continue with the program. But before then, I'll be your host, Joki Murage, and reach us on our number, which is 0798 673 426, or get us through our social media platforms. Facebook, Pillar TV, YouTube, Pillar TV, on Twitter, the X one. Now you can reach us on Twitter_TV. Let's introduce our guest on our today's show so that we can know her and we continue with our program. You're most welcome, Reverend.
Thank you, Jogi. It's very good to be here. I'm honored.
You are most welcome once again. Kindly introduce yourself to the viewers at home so we continue with our program.
I am Reverend CHRISTINA Ree. I currently live in the UK, and I come from a place that is very near to the sea, and my parish is St. Peter's, Sheringham, in the county of Norfolk.
You're most welcome to Pillar TV. Let's have a little talk with you today, since we are honored to have you today as our guest. I would like to know from the beginning, where did you find yourself when you were born? We might not know the place since it's in UK.
Well, it's actually, I was born in the United States, in the US. I was born in a state called New York, and I was born on an island called Long Island, and I lived there with my mother, my father, and my older sister, and my brother, who is 1 year younger, for 5 years. And then after 5 years, my parents sold our house, and we went to live on a wooden sailboat that belonged to my father.
In a sea?
In the sea, in the Atlantic Ocean, and we sailed for the next 10 years. I was brought up on a boat, and we sailed many thousand miles. And I was in the Atlantic Ocean, the Caribbean Sea, and the Mediterranean Sea. And so I was schooled on the boat by my mother and my father.
Wow, that's so amazing. Living in the sea.
It was different. It was different because my parents, my sister and brother and I were the crew. And so they taught us how to sand wood, how to polish brass, how to do ropes, and how to catch fish. And then when we were a little older, how to clean fish. And so we grew up on the sea together in a little boat.
So we may say your staple food was seafood.
Seafood and tins. We had to have tins because we sometimes couldn't catch fish. And we did not have any electricity and we did not have any refrigeration. So we could never have anything dairy or like that. So we had to bring tins of food, tins of stew, cartons of juice. And so we ate fruit when we were near the land, and then it was seafood.
And how did you used to go to school, or where was?
Well, I did school on the boat with my mother. We had a correspondence course, a very good one. And so I learned from a very early age how to be disciplined and how to do it. And I learned that if I did all my schoolwork right at the beginning of the day, I'd have the whole rest of the day to play and to do art, because I love to draw. I started writing poems at the age of 6. I always sang and danced and liked to create plays that I would put my sister and brother in, and we would then perform for my parents. And so sometimes we lived by the land and sometimes we lived just sailing.
And how did you get to discover your your first career? Maybe you have many. Your first career.
I went to university because when I came to the United States, secondary school, and I did very well. And then I went to university and I had a degree in English and performing arts, which means I studied voice. I studied dance. I studied writing and drama and act. So I did a lot of that. And all the while, I had faith. I can remember believing in Jesus from the age of 5. That's my early memories. And I used to think of him as a big brother who would take care of us. And so many things happened that were very dangerous. And I saw from a very early age God was with us and we were protected because we shouldn't be here. There were very bad storms. We could nearly drown. There was lightning hitting the tall masts of the boat. I got struck by a lightning. When lightning went through me, I didn't die. We were sometimes swimming and there would be sharks. So many things happened that I think, no, there is a God and I am protected.
That's
so
the story of Jesus and the disciples.
Yes. So then I went to the performing arts, but I always believed, and it wasn't until I had started a postgraduate degree in theology and communication, because I thought I will go into the media, I will do television, and I will do the kind of television that I would want to watch. It honors God, but is also intelligent and not just asking the audience for money all the time. I didn't want to do that. And then at that point, God spoke to me and said, no, go into theology more after you learn the communication and the media, because I want you to do more ministry. So it was always both. I always knew I would be working in the media, but I would also be doing a lot of ministry.
So first you did your drama and music, then you came to theology.
Then I came to where?
You do theology.
Yes, that's right. I started some theology courses when I was in university, but then I decided I need to know more. And so that's when I started a postgraduate that combined theology and media. And so that was wonderful. And I felt, now I can combine both loves that I have, both the talent in me, because I also, when I was very young, just out of college, I started teaching dance to teenage girls in a school. I was a school chaplain and taught dance. And so I thought, no, I need to go on in more theology. And so that's when I went to the UK to do some more study, postgraduate study, and I took a wonderful course. And 6 months later, I married my teacher.
And how was that dating and the school and music? How was dating with all those things?
How it was related to it?
Dating.
Dating?
Yeah.
We didn't date. I was a student of his. I was in the UK. I went back to the US. We were 3,000 miles and a huge ocean apart. And it was before the days of email and WhatsApp and FaceTime, and he would write me letters.
Which took years before the
Yes, and I would then read them and go, oh, I like this man. And then I would write back to him, and then he would get it. And then once in a while we would arrange to have a telephone call. And so we dated with the notion separating us for 6 months. And then he came over, he proposed to me, and we were married. And he went back to the UK because he was a producer in the BBC, and he had a program to finish, and the show must go on. And I had my postgraduate degree to finish, and I said, well, I have to stay here, you have to go there. And so 3 months, the first 3 months of our marriage, we were not even in the same continent.
You didn't even
And then after 3 months, I finished, and I said, I think I'll be the one to travel to him. And so I packed a big suitcase, and I went to the UK.
After you did your theology and then you did your schooling, how did it come to be that you went to BBC as a news presenter?
I got very involved in the church, the Anglican church, when I went to the UK. And I had 2 little girls quite quickly. And so I was a mother, I was involved in the church, some worship. I've always preached from the age of 17. It seems the Lord gave me a fire inside me for preaching. And so I carried on doing that. And then because my husband was a BBC producer, he would use me for doing certain programs. And then I joined the top governing body of the Church of England called the General Synod. And I went there for the first time, and I made a speech. The next day, I got a telephone call from the BBC asking me to broadcast on their national channel.
Wow, it was that
fast. That fast, and I never looked back. And from then on, I've done hundreds and hundreds of broadcasts on radio and on television. And I went on to become the lead campaigner for women bishops, because in the Church of England, Kenya ordained women in the Anglican Church in 1993. In England, it was 1994, 1 year after Kenya. And then they could be priests, but they could not yet be bishops. And if you can believe it, it was another 20 years before the priests, women, were allowed to be bishops. That was very sad, very difficult, because bishops are chosen from priests. And so I was led to campaign, and it's really inside me. And so I did so much campaigning, and because of that, I became used to do news and current affairs and documentaries and to speak into not only about the issue of women in the church, but also about other things, other ethical, religious, and spiritual issues. And so that's how I became abroad.
Would we say that during that time there was gender? I don't like to call that
Equality, yeah.
I didn't want to say that name.
We have to at some point say that. Yes, there was, and now there are women bishops, but I have to say there's still gender inequality in the UK. Women are not paid as much for the same jobs. There is a 17% pay gap between what men are paid for a job and what women are
paid.
Yes, and that more men are directors and CEOs than women. Many more men are bishops. And so there is still, it looks good on the surface, there is still a gender gap, there is still prejudice and discrimination.
And the way we used to fight to go to UK, maybe we have good opportunities women there. We know that there is something like that.
There is something like that. It's very sad, but a lot of women are working on it, and men too, because then good men really don't want to see their wives and sisters and daughters and mothers put down, not have the same opportunity they have. Because girls do very well in school, but then when they leave, then the men start to do better.
Before we go for a break, because I can see the director instructing me that we just have 1 minute to cut short for a break, then we'll be right back. But before then, I would like to ask you, since you became a theologian or a reverend, and you are still in media, how did you make it work with the same, not from the same category, but at the same level, could raise the same things? How did it come to be?
Do I have time to answer that now?
Yes, you do.
That's a very good question. I think what made it possible for me is that I had shown people in media, the producers, the directors, that I could communicate, and I understood the language of the media. And so they accepted me as a Christian, as a theologian. And I was not at that time yet a reverend. So they knew that I respected their world, and I was a respectful contributor and part of any program I took part in. And I always made my deadlines. I was always time, and I was always respectful in debates on television and radio. If there were people who disagreed with me, who had a view, instead of being rude to them and saying they're wrong, I would just present my points of view. And so producers and presenters and directors grew to trust me, and they liked having me on the program.
Wow, that is so encouraging. We'll take a short break and then we'll be right back. But before then, remember to keep it here at TV and read through our number, which is 0798 673 426. Also, you can reach us on our social medias, which are Pira TV, Facebook, YouTube TV, Twitter, @Pira_TV. We'll be right back after the short break. Don't go so far.
shaping your destiny.
Pillar TV is a 24-hour station that provides programs, incisive news on local and national happenings, in-depth analysis of affairs in politics, business, and entertainment. To comment on our programming, send us your feedback on our Facebook page, Pillar TV, or our Twitter handle at TV_Pillar. Email us at tvpillar@gmail.com or call us on 0798 673 426.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
Inawede kunina nyota yaku ya mai. Mount Kenya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na macungĩtwo na ikĩro cia igũrũ. Nĩ mahĩtũkĩtio nĩ rũhonge rwa KRA na KEBS. Tũkoragwo harĩa Office of Hope Building kũrigania na kanitha wa ACK St Paul Kudus. Twendagia maĩ na ithimo cia mililita 500, lita 1, lita 5, lita 10 na lita 18 gaturumo kenda. Twarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra kĩbũgũ 7 1 kĩbũgũ 2 6 4 4 1 6 kana kĩbũgũ 2 2 1 2 4 4 1 6. Mount Kenya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na mena thogora mũbacĩrĩru. Grand House of Kirinyaga Ardoc Investment Cooperative Society Limited nĩ microfinance ina muoroto wa gwĩkĩra amemba hinya wa kĩmbeca na kũmateithia kwambatĩra ikĩro-inĩ ciao cia kĩmũtũrĩre. Amemba aitũ nĩ kuma ngurubu cia matũũra iria ciũĩkaine ta Otugi Groups, makanitha na honge ciacio nĩ ituo iria inyitanĩte na kanitha wa ACK o hamwe na aruti wĩra a diocese. Gĩtũmi kĩawe kũingĩra Ardoc nĩ kĩĩ? Tũheanaga ngombo citũ na gĩcunjĩ gĩa thĩ. Tũkoragwo na ihinda rĩa kũhoya hamwe na gũteithania. Tũheanaga dividend oro mwaka iria ihĩtũkagio hingo ya mũcemanio wa oro mwaka. Amemba nĩ mahotaga kũgaranti arĩa angĩ, koguo kũhotia ũrũmwe, wĩigĩrĩrĩki hamwe na waragania thĩinĩ wa ngurubu. Kwa ũhoro makĩria, twarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra kĩbũgũ 7 4 6 2 6 1 8 1 7. Na ũcerere rũrenda-inĩ rwitũ nĩ www.ardocinvestment.co.ke kana ũtũcerere ofici-inĩ citũ ACK St Paul Cathedral ngorofa ya 3 Kĩrũgũya.
Dealers in Bibles, motivational books, primary and secondary, wall hangings, book and stationery. We are located along Kĩrũgũya Kagumo Highway, opposite Cabana Hotel, and Kutus and Jimmy Road, next to Gopinath Hardware. By Faith Bookshop, knowledge is power.
Pillar TV kũrũngĩrĩria mũtũrĩre.
Pillar TV, 24-hour station that provides captivating programs, incisive news on local and national happenings, in-depth analysis of current affairs in politics, and entertainment. To comment on programming, send us your feedback on our Facebook page, Pillar TV, or our Twitter handle at TV_Pillar. Email us at tvpillar@gmail.com. Call us on 0798 673 426.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
Inawede kunina nyota yaku ya mai. Mount Kenya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na macungĩtwo na ikĩro cia igũrũ. Nĩ mahĩtũkĩtio nĩ rũhonge rwa KRA na KEBS. Tũkoragwo harĩa Office of Hope Building kũrigania na kanitha wa ACK St Paul Kudus. ndagia maĩ na ithimo cia miririta 500, lita 1, lita 5, lita 10 na lita 18 gaturumo 9. Twarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra kĩbũgũ 7 1 kĩbũgũ 2 6 4 4 1 6 kana kĩbũgũ 2 kĩbũgũ 2 1 2 4 4 1 6. Mount Kenya Blessing Purified Water nĩ maĩ matheru na mena thogora mũbacĩrĩru. Anglican Diocese of Kirinyaga ARDOC Investment Cooperative Society Limited nĩ microfinance ĩna muoroto wa gwĩkĩra amemba hinya wa kĩmbeca na kũmateithia kwambatĩra ikĩro-inĩ ciao cia kĩũtũrĩre. Amemba aitũ nĩ kuma ngurubu cia matũra iria ciũĩkaine ta Otugi Groups, makanitha honge ciacio nĩ ituo iria inyitanĩte na kanitha wa CK o hamwe na aruti wĩra a diocese. Gĩtũmi kĩawe kũingĩra ARDOC nĩ kĩĩ? Tũheanaga ngombo citũ na gĩcunjĩ gĩa thĩ, tũkoragwo na ihinda rĩa kũhoya hamwe na gũteithania, tũheanaga dividend oro mwaka iria ihĩtũkagio hingo ya mũcemanio wa oro mwaka. Amemba nĩ mahotaga kũgaranti arĩa angĩ, koguo kũhotithia ũrũmwe, wĩigĩrĩrĩki hamwe na waragania thĩinĩ wa ngurubu. Kwa ũhoro makĩria, twarĩrie kũhĩtũkĩra kĩbũgũ 746 26 817 kana ũtũcerere rũrenda-inĩ rwitũ nĩruo www.adocinvestment.co.ke kana ũtũcerere ofici-inĩ citũ ACK St Thomas Cathedral ngorofa ya 3 Kĩrũgũya.
By Faith Bookshop, dealers in Bibles, motivational books, revision books for primary and secondary, wall hangings, storybooks, exercise books, and stationery. We are located at Kerugoya along Kerugoya Kagumo Highway, opposite Cabanas Hotel, and Kutus along Mjini Road, next to Gopinath Hardware. By Faith Bookshop, knowledge is power.
Bila TV kurongereria mũtũrĩre.
This is Pillar TV. We are still on the breakfast bite with I being your host, Joki Murage, and we being honored to have one very special guest all the way from UK, Reverend Christina. We'll be doing more about his life and knowing how she is doing, where she started, where she is about to go, and many more about her life in general. So keep it Pillar TV, and remember to keep in touch through our number, which is 0798-673-426, on our social medias, Pillar TV, Facebook, YouTube Pillar TV, and Twitter on Pillar_TV. Welcome back once again.
Thank you, Joki.
Yes, and you can say hi to the people who have just tuned in from our TV.
Hello and welcome. I'm Reverend Christina Ree, and I am honored to be here on Pillar TV with you.
And we are honored to have you. Well, we just learned about your story, how you began your career, where you are, what you have been doing, and many other things about your life, but we are yet to get to the bottom of everything. So I would like to know, together with our viewer, how did you manage to do church and career about media and many other things as a wife, as a mother, among many other things. So I would like to ask you, how do you manage to do church things, and which category of the church there at St. Peter's do you hold?
Well, yes, I'm in the parish of St. Peter's in the Diocese of Norwich, and I am part of the ministry team. I am the associate priest, and so I preach or preside at Holy Communion most weeks, and work with wonderful people. And we have a big outreach to our town. And I also do pastoral visiting and all those things that are associated with being a reverend. Yes.
And how did you start your career in the church while you are still in the media? Did you do media here? You are preaching to the people, or how did you manage to equalize? I'm asking. I'm asking, since you are media personality, some people will see some preacher go there preach. Not everyone who is interested in the preaching thing, and they are still in the church and they have to spread the gospel. How did you manage to stick to the media path and stick to the church path?
That's a very good question, because when I did my studying and my in university and then postgraduate degrees, because it was performing arts and theology, I always was interested in theology and ministry. And so when I came to the UK and I had 2 daughters quite quickly, and so I could do things from home for the media, but I was mainly at home and I could write, so I did a lot of writing. I wrote Bible notes and I wrote scripts and I wrote many things, but I couldn't be as free in media as I became later because of my young children. And so I was very connected to my local church, and I started to lead worship and lead all-age worship and carry on with the preaching and with the youth and the children. So that was how I developed my ministry, but I did not become ordained for many years because of being a campaigner for women. I thought, don't become ordained myself. Campaign for the ordained women as a laywoman, and then I can speak from a position of slight independence, and then no one could say, oh, you just want it for yourself. Because I thought, no, this is for the church. This is because I believe this is the right thing to do for the whole Church of England, for women and for men, to bless women and to bless men, to bless everyone. So I stayed lay for many, many years.
In the church, did you ever think, or in your entire church ministry, did you ever thought of becoming someone like men? As in, did you ever think of vying for a seat that was seen to be for men, not for ladies or women?
Yes, I thought there is no reason why women shouldn't be in leadership, shouldn't be bishops, which is why I became passionate about it, because I thought that's not right, that good, qualified, experienced women are prevented from taking a position that men are allowed to take. So I was very courageous in my understanding of why this was the right thing to do. And because of knowing theology, I thought, I believe that God was blessing the campaign, blessing all of that. Yes.
During COVID time, did your career get any? Did it get any affection or infected by anything to do with ministry, media, or your family? Were you affected by COVID in any way?
Very much affected by COVID, as so many people were. But thanks be to God, I'm sitting here with you. Amen. Because many people aren't. So yes, I was affected by COVID, but in a different way. At the time COVID started, I was a chaplain in a school, and the school shut down. And so instead of doing the assemblies with the children in school, because my husband had been a producer with the BBC, we went out and he videoed me, and I did video assemblies. And that was great fun. I would find a different location because we live in a remote rural area. So we found beautiful locations. We did them inside our home. We were very creative. And so I did one, I loved doing the assemblies on the video. Excuse me. We had great fun. So that was one thing. So I did actually more media in that way as a chaplain during COVID, but all television work stopped because, of course, I couldn't travel to television studios. And the radio kept on. I kept on doing scripts for Thoughts for the Day for BBC Radio, but I could not do television. So yes, it was interrupted. Yes, it was. And the church decided in the UK to shut the churches, which was very sad because they're very large buildings. And but that was decided. And so we had, sometimes we had Zooming, we had the preaching. I could preach in my home and it would be on Zoom, and I could still be invited to preach in many other people's churches because they would have me on Zoom.
So we would say you are a content creator in a way during that time.
Yes, very much so, very much so. And do you know, when tough times come and difficulties come, it forces creativity. It forces us to be creative. And so there were good things to come out of having to do things on Zoom, because now many people who are housebound, they cannot get to church, but at least the church came to them.
Wow, that's so nice. Keep interacting with us through our number, which is 0798 673 426, Pillar TV, Facebook, Pillar TV, YouTube, and on Twitter, Pillar_TV. Just give us any question you may have containing our today's program or concerning our guest on studio, Reverend Christina, that you may have before she goes back to UK. You never know, you might fry together. I would like to ask you, apart from being a preacher, a reverend, a BBC personnel or media personnel, and apart from being a wife, what other things do you do in your day-to-day life, maybe?
In my day-to-day life, I'm in Kenya and here in Nyaga Diocese because I am the director of a foundation that gives grants to women, Anglican women, to train for the ministry. And some of them go on to train for the ordained ministry, and some of them become lay ministers, child workers, youth workers, child psychologists, all sorts of things. And it just so happens that there are quite a few women who have received the support from the foundation, which is called the Lee Tim Oi Foundation. That's a Chinese name. And they've received the support, and I've already met some of them here on this visit to Kenya.
Wow. So you are in collaboration with other people, you are not doing it alone?
No, I'm not. I'm the director, and I've been involved in the foundation for many years. But we have a team back in the UK, and the foundation has been going for nearly 30 years, and it's helped over 700 women to be trained and raised up and empowered to follow their vocation, their calling that God has put on their hearts. So I love that work. I love doing that. And so that is my week in, week out work. And I also carry on with the scripts for the BBC and my work with the local church, and occasionally doing all sorts of, I get asked to do very many exciting things, to give speaking and here and there and preaching. And so I never know what is going to come through the email or the letter, and every week is different.
Every week is a running week, and every week is a grant week.
Yes.
What are the requirements for one to get those grants as a women, as an organization, women organization? What are the requirements?
The requirements are for the Anglican women to apply, and it's applying online on the website. And I don't know if perhaps sometime you could give the website address for the Lee Tim Oy Foundation. And it is to write the application and then get it approved by a bishop or a sponsor, another sponsor, and then submit it, and we will consider it.
Once you give the grants, do you follow to see what they did with that amount of money maybe?
We do. We make sure the money is given to the institution, like the theological college or the other training institution. And we do follow up, and we like to hear from the women to find out what they go on to do. And I was excited yesterday to meet 4 women who'd been supported. They're all reverends. They're all have their own parishes. They've all done amazing things. They've been involved in children's ministry. They've been involved in all sorts of things, and now they're in positions of great responsibility.
Wow, that's so nice. I heard somewhere, don't ask me where, but I heard you have written some books.
Oh, a little bird told you.
Yeah. Yeah. Which kind of books are those? Are they inspirational, faith books? Which kind of books?
I do write on contemporary Christian spirituality. I like to write books that will encourage people in their faith. And I've written several of those. But I've also written a book about the stories from growing up on the boat.
Based on a life story.
Yes. And it was fun to write, and it was like time travel. I went back in my mind, and I could remember so many things. And so I've written that book, and I enjoyed that. And people seem to like reading it and say, "Oh my gosh, I didn't realize this happened to you and that happened to you."
Oh, maybe you can share a sneak peek with the viewer today at home. Maybe he doesn't have that chance of getting that book. A sneak peek.
A sneak. Well, one day I was with my family, and we were out swimming, and we were having to catch our food to eat. We had no food, and my father had a spear gun, and he speared a fish. But the fish didn't die. The fish lay bleeding. And you know what that does. And so suddenly sharks came from all over. And we all had to swim to the beach on this remote little island where we were going to light a fire and roast the fish. Put the fish on it, cook it. And all of a sudden the sharks came. And I got out, my mother got out, my brother got out. But I was on the beach panting and looked out, and there, way out at sea, was my father and my sister. And I saw a number of black fins outside of the water, black shark fins coming at them. And there is no way humans can outswim sharks. And we were all on the beach screaming and praying. And the Lord was good. My father and my sister got up on the sand right before the sharks did. And the sharks were going so fast to get them that the sharks came up on the beach and the sand. And I remember we were all looking down, and there were these sharks who were out of the water, and they were going like, and we were like, and then they were like, "Oh, we're out of the water. What will happen?" And we saw these big black sharks having to wiggle on the sand backwards to get them back in water.
What?
We didn't have a fish. We couldn't eat, and our boat was out in the water. So we waited for 3 hours. And then we huddled together in a little group, trying to look like a really big, scary. And then we got on the boat. We were all safe. and we had to open a tin.
Wow. Hey, you should get
One
that
story.
You should get that book and
Yes,
read it for yourself.
yeah. I'm hoping to have it turned into a film, and with CGI, computer-generated graphics. I think maybe that could be filmed, because you could film it in real life.
Sure.
Dangerous.
Extremely dangerous.
No actor would want to be in that scene.
Even if you pay them, I don't know what.
$1 million, yeah.
Since the time is running out, I think we should get to the comments, and you get to answer the questions that have been sent through our phone and through our Facebook handle, that is Pira TV. So, Kyrie, if you have any question, get it to us through our number, which is 0798-673-426, or reach us through our Facebook page, which is Pira TV, or YouTube Pira TV, or Twitter Pira_TV. Let me get to read the comment and the questions as they have been posted. I can see someone by the name Jack Washira, and he's saying, he has written in Kiswahili. My apologies. I should teach you some people and some Kiswahili,
That would
right?
be good.
He's saying he's tuned from Machako. Someone by the name Patrick Washira again. Congratulations, Level, for coming to Kenya, and you are welcome once again and again.
Oh, thank you. Asante sana. I can say that.
Yeah, you are on point. Someone by the name Beatrice Gechoke says, one who watching from Kehelo. That's a place in Kirinyaga by the name Kahiro. Yes.
Hi, Beatrice.
Yeah, someone by the name James Karaoke Gige says he's watching, and an inspiring story there.
Oh, James, thank you. Be inspired and live your own life to the full.
Amen.
Amen.
Someone by the name Stanley Favored Muturi, watching from St. Andrews, Kabare, says hi to Reverend Christina Ree, and I like her visit and inspiration.
Oh, thank you, Stanley. And I've been to St. Andrews, Kabari, so we probably met. Anyway, hello.
Someone is asking by the name Nelly, how is your stay in Kenya since you came?
That's a good question, Mary. My stay has been wonderful. Bishop Joseph has been a very fine host and invited me to do so much in the diocese with him and also with other people. So I'm very grateful to Bishop Joseph. And then my hostess where I stay is Archdeacon Mary.
Wow.
And she has been a wonderful hostess. And I have been eating very good Kenyan food.
Including Ugari.
Yes, and having fresh sugar cane and popo and arrowroot and stew. And so and the most important thing, every morning, a cup of Kenyan coffee.
Wow.
Which I love.
I can see someone here by the name Ken saying he would like to go back with you, but she's married.
Yes, I'm married.
Be careful. Someone by the name Jane saying he's watching from Baricho, Asante Sana. I can see someone by the name Eunice. He's asking whether the stay in UK and Kenya are the same, or any comparison between the two.
Oh, wow. Good question. Of course, some things are the same. And the best thing that's the same is that when I come to Kenya, I find you are worshipping the same God I worship.
Amen.
So God is sovereign over all people and all places. That's the main similarity. The differences are the food. And so we don't have a lot of the vegetables that you have. We have spinach, we have pumpkin, we have maize, but not so much of the other ones. We don't have arrowroot and things like that. People in different kinds of modern houses. There are no traditional houses left in the UK that used to be. They're all now modern houses. And so that's very different. And when I drive from one place place to another, what I'm looking at outside is very different because here it's palm trees, banana trees, bottle mango, jacaranda, and tea plantations, coffee plantations, very beautiful. None of those exist in the UK. But there are fields of potatoes and sweet potatoes and beetroot and corn, and there are apple orchards, cherry orchards, and there are beautiful trees, and beautiful English people love flowers.
Wow.
So we're a country of flowers, and they love animals. So everybody's a dog or a cat, and people like horses. So that's some of the differences.
Well, I think your question has been answered. Before we get to wrap up the show, I would like to read two comments. Someone by the name Jennifer says, maybe you ask her where we can get such a foundation program to support boy child away or within. What is her view in support of boy child within and away through our generation?
That's a great question, and I get asked that a lot. Why only women? Boys need support too. And if boys are to grow up into the kinds of men that we respect and admire, and that they can feel in themselves that they have honor and integrity, then they need support.
Sure.
We can't expect them to know how to develop into a good character without support. But why we only Tim Oy, the Chinese name, is named after the first Anglican woman ever be ordained, and she was Chinese. And she could not become ordained because she had no money. And her church gave her the money for her to go to college. And so when she died, her sister said, I want to set a foundation in honor of my sister, the first pioneer, and it will help other women. And that's why we exist for women only. But I agree, support.
Thank you so much. I think your question has been answered, and thank you for sending your comment. The very final last comment due to that, our Reverend, our able Reverend, and our CEO, Reverend Richard Morioki, says he's following closely.
Oh, hello, Bishop. Yes, this is good. This is good. Well, this has been wonderful.
You are most welcome, and thank you for visiting Kenya. You're welcome once again and again and again. And most welcome to Pillar TV Studios. Every time you visit Kenya, make sure you come and say hi.
Thank you. I will consider Pillar TV to be my Kenyan studio away from home.
Yes.
BBC and Pillar TV.
Yeah. Before we wrap up the program, I would like you to say something you want to say to the viewer today before we end our show.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And thank you for your wonderful interviewing and your questions, and it's been a pleasure. But to the viewer, I would say, if you've been inspired, then I would like you to take the inspiration and use it to do in your life what you really love. And whatever is burning in your heart, try to follow it. And knock on doors and pursue and don't give up. Because if you have a dream, if you want to write, act, sing, dance, become a reverend, a scientist, an astronaut, whatever it is, pursue it and get help. And don't be afraid to ask for help. So be encouraged, be blessed, and be inspired by your own life.
Thank you so much. And thank you for taking your time to sit here, talk to the viewer, and also sharing your story. We
You're
so
very
much appreciate it. Asante sana.
Asante.
Asante sana. At least I've taught you. Oh, you knew that?
I knew that.
Wow. I should be teaching you something new before we end up the show. Should I teach you a Kikuyu name? Like
Yes.
Muriega.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.
Pillar TV is a 24-hour station that provides captivating programs, incisive news on local and national happenings, in-depth analysis of current affairs in politics, business, and entertainment. To comment on our programming, send us your feedback on our Facebook page, Pillar TV, or our Twitter handle at TV_Pillar. Email us at tvpillar@gmail.com or call us on 0798 673 426.
Pillar TV, shaping your destiny.